What's up, pros? Welcome back to the podcast. And today I want to talk about embodiment because it's really who you are that sells. People, your clients, especially high ticket clients, are not just paying you to coach. They are paying you to lead. They're paying you to show them the best way to be able to live their life. And I can tell you, number one, hands down, embodiment is the most underrated sales strategy to attract and to continue to re-sign and resell high ticket clients, because high ticket people are self-led people. They're driven. They're ready to take action. They're already doing the work. And so what they're really looking for is the leader, the person who is going to be the one that they are always imaging their life over. And they're always, I don't want to say putting on a pedestal, but they're putting you in front of them saying like, hey, I really want to work towards that visage. I want to work towards that outline. And the reason why I want to talk about this and talk about embodiment pieces is because there are a lot of coaches who hit this ceiling of 20 to 30K a month. And it's not really a revenue ceiling. It's what I call a doing ceiling. They've hit the capacity and the ceiling that is capable for them to do. They've run out of time. They can't do more with their time. They can't do more with their day unless they create a second one of themselves. It all relies on them. And they've got caught in this trap where they're like doing instead of being. And there is a significant difference inside of your business. Your clients feel it. Your leads feel it. The people who are operating with you on your team feeling it. The difference between doing and being. And here's the thing, the best coaches out there have mastered the ability to do both. Yes, they take action every day. Yes, they're doing daily follow-up. Yes, they're doing the reach outs if that's what they do. Yes, they're doing the delivery and they're inside of that. But also they are showing up as the highest level of coach that they can be, so clients continue to grow with them. So high-level people are always looking for opportunities and reasons to re-sign with them. These are the coaches that you're seeing out there that's like, holy cow, people just keep buying their stuff over and over again. These people are with them for 4 or 5 years. They have a die-hard community. It's not just a following or an audience, but it's engagers. It's a tribe, people who are all in on them. And here's the thing, you have to balance both. You have to balance doing, which is the work, which is operating inside of your business, which is showing up every day, and being, which is embodying the leadership traits that someone needs in order for them to say yes. Because the tactical work will only get you so far. We do the tactical and it fills up our one-on-one slots. Do the high engagement posts and we're posting 3 to 5 times a day and we're giving free daily value every day. That's the basics that gets you to like, I filled up all of my one-on-one spots and now I have no time. But here's what happens when you do the tactical. Not only does it feel stale, not only does it feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, but you don't really grow. Your clients feel the stagnation. You're capped from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. on back-to-back calls. You barely have a moment to breathe in your life. And you're like, I can't keep doing more of what I'm doing now. Because more is not better. You're not going to go from posting 5 times a day to 15 times a day. No, now we need to focus on quality. We're not going to go from I'm sending 3 emails a week or 5 emails a week to I'm sending emails 5 times a day. That's too much. There can be too much tactical. We can get lost in the doing. We can get lost in the actions we have to take. We can get lost into what am I working on next? What is the next offer that I have to put out? What is the next thing I have to create for people to sell? And we're not doing the being piece. See, the best coaches aren't just tactical, they're congruent. They live and operate the life that all of their clients are begging for and they're asking for every day. The best coaches have time for their workouts every single day. The best coaches have hobbies that they do outside of their business. The best coaches do things for their families and they're showing up powerfully for their kids and they have amazing relationships with their partners. The best coaches have it all and they're the embodiment of everything. They're showing their clients what it's like to lead in their relationships. They're showing their clients what it's like to lead with investing. They're showing their clients what it's like to lead a healthy lifestyle, but do the rest restaurants and do the fun thing and travel frequently. They're living the life outside of just doing the do inside of their business. The business is something that serves them, and it's allowing them to be, and here's the being piece again, be in a state of true happiness, true joy, and true excitement. If you're in the ceiling right now, it's not that you're not in the space where you're not growing. You're getting people who are signing up. You're getting people who are reaching out to you. But you're like, the ceiling is encapped with, there's no excitement at this point. I feel like I'm going through the motions inside of my business. I feel like although I'm excited to work with more people, I can't really fathom how I'm going to do this because I'm running out of time. Congruency is living your highest life. It's living your best life. It's being able to have the fire relationship. It's being able to take the time to take your kids to all the soccer games. It's being able to be on 3 hours of calls and not 15 hours of calls every single day where you're caught up in the client delivery and going through the motions. Because here's why I share this. And why I share this as such a powerful sales tool, because embodiment is the most powerful sales tool for high ticket coaches. Okay. Clients buy 3 things. They buy emotional safety. They buy the example of leadership when it's under pressure, and they are buying the feeling of being in your space. Clients want to know because the journey is hard. They're going to ask to change their lifestyle around food, to change their lifestyle around their relationships. They're going to ask to say no to people. They're going to be asked of you, or you're going to ask them to set boundaries around their life. And all of this is going to be challenging. And they want to know that through that process, that they are going to be emotionally safe with a person who is doing the same thing. So in order to do that, guess what? You have to be the one taking the challenges first. You have to be the one showing them how to be able to invest. You have to be the one who's doubling down on their business. You also have to be the one who's leading with boundaries and demonstrating a healthy business, a healthy lifestyle, healthy relationships, so they can see that there is safety in your work. If they don't feel safe, if they're like, holy crap, this is going to be hard as shit, then guess what? This is where they're going to take longer to decide to buy from you. This is where you're not going to have daily signups. You're going to have weekly signups. You're going to have people who ask you more questions. And we want people to be all in. We want people to be ready. Leadership under pressure is a fine example of this. High ticket clients who are self-led already know that they are doing the right things. They just want to grow more. They want to see more of a result. And what they want is a leader who's been farther than they have been. All of the mentors that I have hired in the past are people who had things that I did not have, who are in places that I wanted to get to, and who had built their businesses in ways that I couldn't fathom or understand. And they were leaders, and I was searching for, what is it that they are doing differently? How are they approaching life day to day? How are they having conversations? How are they leading relationships in order for me to get to that same position? So in order to do that, you have to demonstrate what leadership is. This means you also have to show them what leadership under pressure is. How do you make decisions when you don't see results? How do you continue to live a life of happiness and freedom minus fear, minus the urgency? They want to see that, because when fear comes up for them, when urgency comes up for them, when they start to seek safety, they're going to look to you and say, this person doesn't seek safety. Why should I do that? And this leads to the feeling of being in your space. Every single time your highest level clients that have committed to you right now love being around you. The conversations you have with them are fire. And it's the same thing that the conversations I have with the coaches that I work with. Inside of Coach to Coach, all of our conversations are they light me up. I get fired up talking to these people every day because every conversation is new. And it's not just business. It could be talking about, hey, look, I'm having a lot of challenges in my relationship and I feel like I can't market today. Cool. And we navigate that, and it's fun and it's exciting. And every single time I hop off the call, they're like, I am so grateful that I have you as a part of my business, and I'm grateful that I have you as a part of my life. People are buying and they are investing in you, and they invest at the level of the feeling of being in your space. I want to work with coaches who make me feel fired up. I want to work with coaches who make me feel excited. I want to work with practitioners who, when I have a hard day, they're like, shake it off, girlfriend. Like, we got this. We can do it. When you feel fired up and excited every day, that's going to make you want to be in the coach's energy. I know that for myself. I work with coaches who are exactly like me. I work with coaches who invest at high levels of themselves, who don't need to know everything, but are like really focused in one or two key areas, and who are all in on the freaking clients, who understand the feeling of like, I want to grow every day, and I want them to grow every day. I want my coaches to grow just like I want my clients to grow. And this is why I invest at higher levels. It's why I show up as a higher person. So embodiment, and what embodiment actually looks like, is like it's in all areas. For example, your content. You have to show up as the leader. You have to be talking about how you're investing. You have to be talking about your spirituality. You should be talking about how you lead your relationships. You should be talking about what you do on a bad day, how you overcome tough situations, how you overcome not wanting to work out but doing it anyways. All of these things are examples of high levels of leadership. Your content should be showcasing the end journey of, if they do the work with you, what could their life possibly look like? Celebrate the highs, celebrate the lows, share your consistency, share your due diligence, and share how you are willing to invest. Invest the time into the work, invest the energy emotionally and mentally, and invest financially into the continuous growth. And when it comes to your coaching, guess what? It's not enough to just show up for their calls. No. Embodiment, the thing that's going to sell them and keep them reselling over and over again, that increases retention. Like, I have 5-year retention average for our clients inside of our hormone coaching programs. 5 years people stay with us because I don't just show up for the call. I'm not just like, oh, look, you know what? I show up right on the call. We do the call and that's it. No, there's messages in between for the people who have that service. There's the group chat that we're engaged in. There's the outside, oh, here's an additional training. Oh, you mentioned this on your call that your dog has this little collar. Here's the dog collar that I bought for your dog. All of these things are showing that you listen as a coach, that you pay attention as a coach, that you're going over and above and beyond what you said that you were going to give, and you were delivering such a high amount of value and such a result that someone cannot fathom not having you in their life. And this is where it really does become a lifelong relationship. Coaching and mentorship should be lifelong, because if you're growing as a coach, if you're doing the work, if you're always up leveling, then they're always learning new things from you. They're always growing. And as long as you're doubling down and delivering the value, it becomes a no-brainer scenario. So coaching is not just about how you're showing up for them. It's also about how you're showing up for yourself. Are you the smallest person in the room in your coaching containers right now? Are you working with coaches who are firing you up, who are lighting you up to new levels, who aren't just coaching you on business and recurring revenue, but who are showing you how to be a better leader, who are showing you how to work through your mindset, who are helping you become better partners for your husbands or your wives? That's being a better coach. That's showing up at such a high level. And when someone looks at you week after week, month after month in your contents in your social media, they're like, holy shit, the person of 6 posts ago, I don't even recognize. They're growing at such a fast speed that that's what I want. And then the other embodiment piece is your freaking pricing. Guys, if you want to embody a high level coach who actually takes themselves seriously, you can't charge cheap. Not because it's about charging more, but because people attach value to the level that they are investing in. If I go and I invest $30,000 for a coach, or the coach that Lauren and I invested in, holy cow, it's been 8 months ago, we spent close to 60,000 Canadian for 2 months of coaching. 2 months of coaching. We invest at that high level. We're freaking serious. We're all in. We're absorbing everything. Think about how your clients are investing in your programs right now. Do you still have the same price point from like 2021? Come on. Is your service still the same? Are you still doing these 12-week, 16-week blocks? Let's be serious. You know they need longer commitments. You know they need to be with you for 6 months or 12 months. That's how you capture retention. It's also how you capture more serious people. Because guess what? The person who's committing for 6 months to a year looks totally different than the person committing for 12 weeks or 16 weeks. So changing your pricing, charging what you're worth, increasing your prices year after year. Guys, every year without fail, I increase my prices. Minimum 10 to 12% a year. Minimum. Because guess what? I learn more. I grow. And as I grow and I have more knowledge and I can teach more and I can provide more value, I become more of an investment. And guess what? The people that I work with, they grow too, which means they start to take it more and more seriously with each investment that they make the commitment with. And look, I'll tell you something. You're not doing the embodiment right if you're not at the income that you want, because your income ceiling is directly tied to your embodiment ceiling. And what I mean by that is, let's say you take the coach, like I see coaches kind of at two stages. I see the coaches who have hit the multiple six figures. They're at like 350, 400,000 a year. And they're like, I feel like I'm capped here. And they're stuck in the do every single day. They're doing all the reach outs. They're doing all the content. They're just doing. But there's no going over and above. There's no embodiment. There's no, like, it's basically they've got caught up in the cycle of just maintenance. And guess what? Their income does not change month after month, week after week, year after year. They're hovering around that 350 to 400K a year mark. And it's not that they're doing anything wrong, but guess what? They're not embodying someone bigger. They're not growing themselves. They've just gotten comfortable where they are. But then there's the second coach that I see. These are the coaches that work with me in C2C and that apply for our coaching programs and that we're working one-on-one. These people, they're like, you know what? I want to be the coach in my industry. I want to be the binge eating coach. I want to be the naturopath for hormones. I want to be the nutritionist. I want to be the back chiropractor where any back problem, I'm the guy. I want to be the new knees over toes guy. All of these things involve embodying a completely different level of commitment. It involves you showing up at such a high level that people are looking at you like, oh, wow, they're going next level. It involves changing your content with more intention. It involves making sure that every single day you are showing up at such a high level. And guess what? All of a sudden, they start hitting 50K months like it's peanuts, because it had nothing to do with the money and had everything to do with becoming the person who was worth the value of that money. Because that's what embodiment is. One of our highest coaches, he makes 3.2 million. He made that last year in August, like for the whole year, not in August. If he made that in August, amazing. Holy shit. Okay. For the whole year. But at 3.2 million, his mindset is different. The way he shows up is different for his clients. He has such a high level of intentionality. Our conversations, he's always early to the call. And he's always like, thank you so much. He's always incredibly appreciable. He's 100% humble. And by humble, he's not the guy who would boast or brag. I do more boasting for him because he should celebrate himself more. Because he's like, I just want to show up every day and I just want to change these people's lives. And you know what? His practice is very strong, and he has people who come to him month after month, even for maintenance programs, because they love being in his energy. They don't want to lose him. And it's funny because he shares with me messages where people are like, dude, like, I know our treatment has been over, but like, I honestly know, like, if I stop seeing you, you're probably going to get filled, and I'm just not going to be able to have the opportunity again. So is it okay if we do like a once a week, a once a month? And it's like, yeah, hell yeah. Let's find other ways to work together. His embodiment ceiling is different. And that's the thing too, and I recognize that. And it was actually a mentor a couple of years ago that really taught me, like, my embodiment ceiling was low because month after month I was generating the same result. It was like, regardless of what I did, regardless of how much more I did, put in more time, hit the same income ceiling. Put in more time, replace the same amount of clients that were going out. 10 clients would finish up their programs. I'd bring in 10 in that week. It was like the same thing. And I was like, dude, I don't get it. I'm trying all of these different things. I'm doing more shit. I'm doing more work, but I'm not actually seeing a different result. And he's like, yeah, because you're not embodying a different person. You're showing up as the same person to all of these tasks every single day in your business. And I was like, you're right, 100%. I've been on maintenance mode. I've been on going through the motions. And sometimes we need to go bigger. We need to invest at a higher level. We need to scare ourselves a little bit in order for us to show up at such a high level for clients that they're like, oh man. And here's the thing about embodiment. You don't have to do these colossal shifts, okay? You can do micro shifts to expand your embodiment every single day. Like, first of all, start embodying yourself as the coach from a schedule perspective. Start embodying yourself as the coach that you know that you could be. Say to yourself, if I want to make $1 million this year, what would $1 million coach's schedule look like? Is $1 million coach's schedule look like 16 hours of back-to-back calls? No, because they don't have time to grow their business. Does it look like having 75 sales calls and sometimes we go over on our time slots? No, because they don't have the capacity to do that. Does it look like allowing clients inside of Slack or Telegram to leave 16-minute voice notes where you're listening and listening, you're like, I don't even get the question? No, you would tell the clients, hey, listen, you got to hop on these calls, you got to hop in this Slack and this Telegram channel, and you got to be potent and keep this shit to 2 minutes or 3 minutes so I can really help you. So a person who wants to do this micro shift into a better level of embodiment would start to master their time, because your time, guess what, is completely attached to your income as well too. It's not just embodiment work. So start embodying the person who takes their time seriously, who's more intentional with the time that you're taking with things, and you're watching how you're using your time. Another micro shift is the level of seriousness that you put into something. How long does it take for you to make a decision? And I don't talk about time, I mean energetically. Sometimes you're humming and hawing on a marketing idea for like 4 months when you could have put that thing out in 3 days. And my question is why? That's why you have stagnant growth. Because the coaches we're working with inside of C2C, when we hop on a call and the call is 10:30, because I'm working one-on-one with clients, they send me a message at 12:30. I'm 65% through this thing. We'll have it done by the end of the day. Because that's the different mindset. If you're going to make the decision, decide. Don't hum and haw on it. Don't say, oh, you know what, I'm waiting for intuition. You don't need intuition. You make the decision and look, there's no such thing as the right or wrong decision. We make decisions right by making adjustments. And that's the embodiment of a high-level coach. If it didn't work, we adjust. And guess what? Same thing with the time and the intention. When you adjust, make the decision quickly. Embodying micro shifts like this is how you show up as a higher level coach. And here's another piece of embodiment for micro shifts. How consistent are you? We start by being consistent, and then we start going to be intentionally consistent, which is every single day, if I had to put out the absolute highest quality message, one message that a client could hear, what would it be? Every single day, if I had to give one piece of value for free that would really shock these people and be like, holy crap, thank you so much. If I could change the life of one client today, who would it be? What could I do for them? That's taking the embodiment to a whole other level. And then another micro shift as well too is setting boundaries. Remember, the $1 million coach, the $10 million coach, like Lauren and I work with coaches who are like 10 million, 12 million, like that's just normal for them. Their level of boundaries is insane. It's insane because even sometimes I'm like, wow, like you have boundaries on everything. You have boundaries before you start communication. So when someone starts to vent to you, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, are you asking for a vent or are you asking for support? Because if you're asking for support, we can talk solutions, but they have to be positive. Like, are you that type of person who's putting boundaries like that up front? Or are you allowing your time to just be taken from you? Are you allowing people to take your energy from you? The micro shift of your boundaries, setting boundaries with people on your time, on your energy, on what you're willing to do for them, on what you're willing to do for clients. Because as you start to protect more of that energy, you then find yourself with more energy to be able to give. And when we give, the other micro shift is to be intentional with how we give. We're not just going to throw a bunch of stuff out there because we're like, I need to put more and more and more out. It's about giving in a way that is so powerful, someone recognizes this. So my question for you is, of these micro shifts, like what part of this needs to upgrade before your next level hits? An even bigger question for you, what part of your identity needs to change before your next level hits? Are you identify as the person who can like, hey, you know what? I'm okay with where I'm at? No, if you're searching for growth, what level of your identity needs to change? And guess what? I'll share this with you before I end this episode. Like, I had a coach that I was working with. This was, early last year. And they were like, well, I feel like when I'm trying to do this embody work, I'm trying to like fake it till I make it. This isn't faking it till you make it, guys. Embodiment work is realizing that the future you has already done this stuff. The future you has already been the best coach, has already had the 50K cash months, has already made the $1 million, $10 million business. The future you already has the investments you're looking for, the relationship you want, the spirituality that you possess. So we're not faking anything. We are merely borrowing the energy of our future selves, and we're saying, show me, help me lead myself to become you. That's all we're doing. It doesn't have to be something that's difficult. It doesn't have to be something we have to force. If I had a path that was in front of me and I knew that the future me walked it, wouldn't I just say like, well, what would my future self do? And I ask myself that question all the time. If future Andrew was looking at me right now, would he approve of this? Would he look at me and be like, man, you tried, you did, look at you grow? Or would he be like, dude, really? Like another rest day? What's up with this? And that's how I stay so consistent. It's how I show up every day. It's how our clients inside of Coach to Coach show up every day. Because when you start to embody and you start to say, I want to be the coach in my space. I want to be the coach in my industry. I want to be the coach for my clients. I want my clients to stay with me for 5 years, not because I didn't give them a result, but because they love being in my energy. I want my clients to grow with me. So the person who they were when they started to the person they were when we have a hop on calls, they're like, I don't even know who I am, because I've changed so much and it's exciting for me. All of these things can happen. And the embodiment piece, it's the most important work that I do with the coaches inside of Coach to Coach, because doing more money, systems, recurring revenue, price points, all of that stuff is very simple. It's more action. You have the actions already. It's doing the basics better. But you know what? There is something in your embodiment. There's something in the way that you are showing up every day that's preventing those basics from working for you. And it's because you're not embodying the coach. The embodiment comes first. And you know what? The embodiment comes very quickly. And here's a really neat part too. It was like 3 weeks. I had worked with a new client 3 weeks ago. And I think it was like 4 or 5 messages in talking. And by then they had already been onboarded with me. And then also they've had 2 calls. And they were like, dude, you're really making me think the way that I show up to the people inside of my containers. Because of the way that I communicated with him, because of the way that I was showing up on our calls, because of the objectives and the things I was asking him ahead of time. He was like, I don't do this. I don't. And I know that I could, and I'm asking myself why I'm not. And I'm like, yeah. Even just in appearing in the space, you don't even have to learn anything. You can just be in the space of working with a coach who's all in on you and your business and who's highly invested in you. And you're like, holy shit. It's a different energy. It's a different level of commitment, and it's a different show up. So, what part of your identity needs to shift before your next level hits? Embodiment, that increases more sales, that increases more conviction. That's where you need to work on. That's all for this episode, guys. And remember, we still have the opportunity to be able to join. We got 2 spots open for May for C2C. And then guess what? Midway, we're increasing our price point. And I said that, holy cow, was it November? I said that we were going to be doing that because I'm working to fill my one-on-one spots. I only work individually with people because when I do this, like it's the individual work that you and I are hopping on calls. Like, oh my God, it's like all the time we're hopping on calls, but I love it. I love doing the individual. And for me, the group aspect, actually, this is probably something I should do a podcast on, but the group aspect for me, it's not that I don't like group for coaches, but it's that like I get so invested in individual businesses that like my energy and my focus and my drive is about making sure that we're doing what is right for you. And truthfully, like 90% of the coaches who work with me, they don't give a shit what other people are doing in their business. They don't. And like, I'll tell you, when I was in coaching containers, I couldn't care less. I never engaged in the group chat. I was never that guy who was like, oh, what are you doing for your offers? I'm like, no, I want to work on me. Like, I want to work on like what I need in order to grow my business. And that's actually why I work one-on-one with people, because it's like every single coach that comes across me is like, look, I've gotten what I've can from group containers, but now I just want to focus on myself. I want to embody me. I want to embody my message. I want to get clear and continue to build my business so I can skyrocket in a way where people start asking me, what the hell am I doing? Right? So like I said, we're taking 2 spots for May. You can either DM me on Instagram, C2C, that's the C, the number 2 and C, or just hit the link in the show notes to be able to do the application, and you'll book a discovery call with me. That's where you and I hop one-on-one and we unpack your business. What's going on, where you're getting your leads from, what level of embodiment you possess, and you're going to really see, even just by booking that call, the level of intention that goes through this whole process. Thanks guys for listening. Catch you on the next one. See you later.